Joe Hopkins here, and what happened to albums, right? I've been hearing here and there people talking about if albums are kind of like a dead thing because of streaming, right? And I was thinking about it, and I was thinking, I don't think the album is dead, but at the same time, does it matter? Really, does it matter if the album is dead? Nobody's out there saying, well, what happened to symphonies, right? The format changes. At one time, you had orchestras perform music, and symphonies were what people wrote. And people still write symphonies, right? And they still write a lot of movie and TV music is very, classically oriented and that kind of stuff. But I guess, formats change. When recorded music first started, you'd release a single song. Not even a B-side. At first, it was just one song, right? You made a record, it was one song. Later on, when they started doing a B-side, you had a song on each side. So you put out a record, there's two songs. It got to the point where they'd put maybe 2-3 songs on a side, depending on how long they are, because of limitations. But the single was kind of the original recorded music. And, with the invention of vinyl records, you get the LP, the long playing. You can do an album. And at some point, people started doing the kind of like the concept of an album, songs that actually go together and flow in a certain way instead of just a collection of songs. At first, it was just a collection of songs, an album of songs, right? Like a photo album, but for music. And later, people realized you can put songs in a certain order, write songs on a theme, a concept. Now we talk about concept albums, but really almost every album that's been done since the 50s, almost 60s, has really been a concept album. The idea that the songs at least should go together in a certain way, in a particular order. That's what became the album. And now with streaming, everybody's lamenting, well, what happened to the album? Well, people still put out albums, and people still do concept albums. There are a lot of really good ones that have come out in the last 20 years, right? But the truth is does it matter? Not everybody is an album-oriented artist. A lot of artists, well, they put out an album that was really just a collection of songs, and it mostly focused around the singles. That's been a lot of artists. So artists that want to do albums can still do albums. And artists that really aren't that good at albums don't have to. Because for a long time, you had to have an album. I remember growing up, man, I'd buy albums. I'd hear a great song, I'd buy the album, and I'd wonder why there's only 3 really good songs on this album and the rest is just filler. And they used to call the songs you put on there just to take up space. That's filler. And a lot of albums had filler on them. Because the truth is not everybody can write and do a whole album all at one time. So, yeah, is it a bad thing that there are a lot of people just putting out single after single after single? And no, I don't think it is. I think that's a great thing. I think that's a great thing for artists that are not album oriented, that don't really have it in them to put together a long playing album that makes sense. But if you're one of those artists that's really good at writing songs, and you write a song here, record it, put it out, then a little bit later, you write another song. It's a really good song. You record it, you put it out, put them out as singles, if that's what works for you. And most of the lamenting I've heard about, the death of the album, I think a lot of it is just hyperbole. People trying to, sound extreme, say something that gets attention. I don't think the album is going anywhere. Just the same way that the single isn't anything new. You buy one song. Well, I did that a lot growing up. I'd buy the single. If I didn't really want the album, but I liked that song, I bought a lot of singles, They had them on cassette tape. I remember when they were on records. You buy a 45 RPM record, and there you go. It's a single, and there's a B-side. So, And yeah, and of course they marketed those singles by a lot of them had the B-side is a song that wasn't on the album. So if you want that song, you have to buy the single. Great idea, actually. That isn't a bad idea. Or, you know, it would be a song that they recorded for the album, but it didn't make the album. You know, sometimes there isn't enough room. You know, you record 12 songs and you only have room for 10. 2 of them get cut. But then they end up as B-sides to the singles. So yeah, I think the album isn't going anywhere. And I like the fact that some of my favorite artists, some of the ones I really like, who are really good at singles and not so good at albums, they can just put out singles. I can listen to their singles as they come out. That's fine with me. That's perfectly fine. I think it's pretty cool. I think it was limiting to kind of force artists into doing albums, right? I think you should be able to do both. I think you should have artists that are singles type artists and ones that are album type artists. And then there's the EP, of course, you know, which is longer than a single, not as long as an album. Some people are good at those. Some people did really great EPs and mediocre albums, right? So anyway, there you go. There's my thoughts on it. That's my rant for today. It's a little bit of a rant. I'm ranting. I'm going to put it on my rants playlist. There are playlists. If you bother to look, I've got different playlists. And, you know, I did an album. I did a whole album of songs. Of course, it's stuff I recorded over a period of years, and you can listen to it. It's right there, streaming links down there somewhere, and it's on YouTube. Here at the end, there's a playlist. It's called "I Didn't Get a Memory." It's a cool album, I think. I think it's a cool album. Great album cover too. Anyway, thanks for hanging out with me and listening to my rant. I'll see you guys in the next video. I love you guys. Peace out, baby. Bye-bye.